I'm Rafnil from Nepal and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Stanley Goodler and I'm from Australia, but I'm part Fijian from Rugby and I love listening to Today FM rocks.
For the best music and less talk, we tune into Today FM in Nasilai Village. Today FM rocks.
My name is Inai Ali and I'm from Ba and I love the big breakfast on Today FM. I just love it and hope you love it too.
My name is Jay from La Paz. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Naushin and I'm from Sambeto and I love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Tonight, Fiji in line to get $45 million from the European Union for sugar and agriculture. 1 in 5 adolescents in Fiji is overweight. And government ministries to solve their own disputes internally. The European Union has already allocated $45 million for the sugar and agriculture industry. However, certain criteria need to be met before the funds are released. EU Ambassador for the Pacific Andrew Jacobs revealed this during an exclusive interview with FBC News journalist Savara Thambua.
The ball is in Fiji's court, so to speak. $45 million is there for the taking. The requirement? A clear government strategy that explains how the money will be used for all sectors of the sugar and agriculture ministries. EU Ambassador for the Pacific, Andrew Jacobs, confirms they are working closely with the Fijian government on the issue.
So in other words, we could agree with the government that in 2 years' time there should be a certain amount of sugar harvested in that year. And that gives all those involved in the sugar industry a target to meet. If this target is met, then it could be one of the factors that would enable us to disperse funds. So there is this strategic framework that needs to be established within which we prepare a budget support program.
According to Jacobs, the duration of the program could be anywhere between 3 to 4 years. Again, this will depend on results. In order for the EU to roll out all the funds, they will need to see that the money is being put to good use, with positive results across all sectors that have been identified in the strategy.
We need to plan in the next few months. We don't have a schedule set down yet. It won't be a disbursement all at once. I think it will probably be in 3 or 4 different parts. But the regularity of the disbursement will be agreed while we negotiate with the government.
Once the strategy has been finalized, the EU says all plans will need to be registered before the disbursement of funds. Questions have been sent to the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Economy. Savara Thambua, FBC News.
1 in 5 adolescents in Fiji is overweight. A Ministry of Health survey has found more children are at risk of non-communicable diseases. Edwin Nund reports.
Fijians suffering from non-communicable diseases are getting younger. The youngest stroke patient is only 12 years old.
Children are being targeted in terms of nutrition. I mean, all the advertisements is for children. I hardly see any advertisements on food targeting adults.
Childhood obesity has national consequences. Millions of taxpayers' dollars will be spent on treating diseases which could have been prevented. Economic productivity will also suffer if more and more children grow up with chronic diseases.
In Fiji, there is increasing evidence that we are eating from the supermarkets, and that's fine. We don't have to change from eating from the supermarkets. We can promote what the people are moving to the supermarkets. What we need to know now or learn as parents, or how do you feed children with food from the supermarket? That's the issue now.
Dietary habits have changed a lot over the years in terms of the introduction of the westernized foods, foods high in calories, like the sugar, the sweet and sugary beverages. There's also the accessibility to fast foods, takeaways and all that.
The Health Ministry is hoping the public health bill currently before Parliament will help remove many of the external influences which lead to NCDs. Edwin Nund, FBC News.
The stock of medicine under the free medicine scheme will be replenished at the end of the month. Health Minister Rosie Akbar says they're working closely with relevant agencies to make sure this happens. The assurances by Akbar was in response to questions from FBC News of a shortage of medicine in the country.
FBC News approached the minister to clarify if there was a shortage in medication under the free medicine scheme. This follows complaints by some people who told FBC News that they did not get any medication and was told by doctors at the health center they visited that there was a shortage. In response, the minister says their stocks should be back to its normal supply by month's end.
And we have already made arrangements so that the drugs can be in the country by this weekend. Okay, and I'd just like to assure the public that the main stock of drugs will be arriving in the country November end.
The free medicine scheme program was introduced as part of the government's initiative for all Fijians earning a gross salary of below $20,000 a year. Akbar says people need to register to access medicines under the scheme.
The important thing is for the public to have access to the drugs. You have to register with us. You have to register under the free medicine program. And I would like to advise public to register with us at our health centers.
141 out of 142 drugs under the scheme are currently available at registered pharmacies. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
A former staff of Post Fiji Limited has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for 2 counts of embezzlement. The court heard 54-year-old Semi Namaraulu, an assistant at Post Fiji's mail centre at Laudala Beach, embezzled 3 sealed packages belonging to 3 different people in July. Investigators from the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption conducted a search at his home in Nausori and the packages were seized. He has a non-parole term of 14 months. Ministries will soon be able to solve their own disputes and complaints within the workplace. Minister for Employment Chonio Somate says having a mediation unit within an organization to handle conflicts can save time rather than taking matters to court. Kelly Vadhala reports.
It's crucial to have solutions that will repair the relationships between parties when there's a dispute. Minister for Employment and Productivity Chonio Somate says there have been cases left unhandled for years and this is a reason for mediators.
This will allow us to disputes that could have taken so long in the court, they can be resolved now much faster when parties sit down and agree to this. So we see this as a way of trying to create a better culture of dispute resolution, faster dispute resolution. Sometimes I noticed, for instance, that in some of the cases that we have in the Ministry of Labour, things sit in our tribunals that can go on for years. Obviously, if we can get people to come down, sit down in a place, agree on what the solution is, then we can remove all of these long waiting times that people have.
The Chief of Mediation Services says this will greatly benefit all workplaces and employees.
Dealing with the disputes and grievances arising in employment matters. Employment matters are reported to the ministry, either by the union or the individual. Individual has a right to take up an individual grievance directly with the mediation services on any infringement in the employment relations promulgation.
Minister Usamati launched a media training with more than 30 employees from different government ministries today. It will continue tomorrow. Kelly Badala, FBC News.
An Oceania bus hit an electrical pole along Robertson Road in Suva early this morning. An eyewitness says it was a severe impact and claims the driver allegedly fell asleep at the wheel. There were a handful of passengers on board when the accident occurred. Police spokesperson Ananai Soro says no life was claimed as passengers suffered minor injuries. Police investigations are continuing. Coming up on FBC News, stakeholders told of need for national commitment to address climate change.
Iyo mbule bina tangu epeli untuk taliten la porong mbule FM nabu.
Nambon tuan tinangan mbule FM enusur. Mbule FM nambon tuan ser.
Mbule sia buni babu lambasa nada ko bila merikibi mbule FM nambon tuan ser talita itu ngai lambas.
Mbule FM nambon tuan ser.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Climate change should now be an everyday topic of discussion, says Commissioner Northern Chovesa Vodea. Opening a workshop on understanding RED Plus and the Fiji National RED Program, Vodea says a national commitment is needed to effectively address climate change.
Sea level rise and prolonged droughts are two main climate change effects witnessed in our everyday living. Commissioner Northern Chovesa Vodea says it's time the issue is taken more seriously in our communities.
We should talk it over in all the schools, part of the curriculum for our kids. We should talk it over in our provincial council, Tikina Council, in our village meeting, in our community meetings, Bosifa Kor, in our church.
Vodea says the effects of climate change is evident in all maritime communities. Most villages are continuously rebuilding seawalls and some relocating.
Thinking about this climate change effects on our life, it does not have any season. It's an everyday phenomenon now. So I think that we should be talking more about climate change than the cyclone season.
Vodea is chief guest and one of about 30 participants of a two-day workshop on understanding RED Plus and the Fiji National RED Plus program in Lambasa. RED Plus is an incentive geared towards sustainable forest and land use management to mitigate climate change.
RED Plus is a national program that needs to be implemented at the national scale. So it will demand active engagement from all other sectors.
A divisional working group will be formed after the workshop to oversee the implementation of RED Plus program activities at the divisional level, chaired by the Commissioner Northern. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Youth unemployment is becoming a challenge for the Ministry of Employment, which is now strengthening its initiatives designed to help people find jobs. Minister responsible Choneo Sumate says the 55-year retirement age provides jobs for younger Fijians, while the National Employment Centre also helps the unemployed.
We are also encouraging people that are going to university to go with the mindset that I'm going to university not just so that I can become an employee, but also I'm going to university to learn some education so I can become an entrepreneur. I can start a business so I don't become an employee, but I employ others.
A man is recovering in hospital after a motorbike accident in Sawani Nausori yesterday. Auditions for the Today FM and Nescafe Make Your Move dance competition continue today at the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation. Amateur dancers around Suva lined up at Broadcasting House today to showcase their moves. The judges will now begin the viewing process of audition videos sent in through the Nescafe Facebook page. Then it will be narrowed down to 12 semi-finalists who will then compete for the top 6 slots to move into the finals at Albert Park on December 3rd. To the U.S. presidential elections now, the Federal Bureau of Investigations has declared that investigations into a new pile of emails from Hillary Clinton's private server don't justify any further action. FBI Director James Comey says he stands by his conclusion that Clinton's use of a private email server was careless but not criminal. Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with all the very latest.
Nakajaki, and good evening. Up ahead in sports. Concerns raised by local football teams ahead of Pacific Cup. And New Caledonia back for Oceania Sevens after 4 years. Details coming up.
Yandra! I love listening to Gold FM at Golden Point Resort. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Hola, my name is General from Rugby League. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic.
I'm Moses from Valeu. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Marida Manako. I'm from Kandavu. I like listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Tilipa from Tavor Town. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The Mba, Rewa and Lambasa football teams might not feature in next week's Pacific Cup football tournament. FBC Sports has received confirmation that the 3 districts have applied to the Fiji Football Association to withdraw from the tournament. Some of the reasons for this include the districts disputing the 60-minute football rule, all costs having to be footed by the districts, and player availability. The registration fee to play in the tournament is $500 per team. Fiji FA Competitions Manager Amitesh Pal has confirmed that he has forwarded the request to the organizers of the tournament The tournament is scheduled to be played from next Wednesday to Sunday at Nandi's Prince Charles Park. The Mba football side has qualified for next year's Oceania Champions League. The 3-0 win over Nandi yesterday has ensured Mba finishes in the top 2 of the Vodafone Premier League competition this year. Mba leads the standings with 31 points, while Rewa follows with 25. The men in black need one more point from its remaining 2 matches against Ndreketi and Lambasa to claim this year's title. The New Caledonia Sevens team arrived into the country today with high hopes ahead of this weekend's Oceania Sevens tournament in Suva. The side knows too well what awaits them and have taken on the underdog status. Vastil Prasad reports.
Coming back into the Sevens fold after 4 years has all but motivated the New Caledonia team, who plan to surprise some big names this weekend.
It'll be tough. We've got a hard pool: Australia, Samoa and Cook Island, I think. It's definitely going to be tough for us.
The side boasts a lot of their local players who are all eager to put their 2 months of hard work to the test.
The last 2 months we've been training hard and practicing and trying to get to know each other because we're from different clubs. So
The side last played in the Oceania Sevens in 2011. Back then they conceded 187 points with just 6 tries in 5 games. Our memory certainly best forgotten.
Target is at least to win a game at least. And then if we can do that, try and set other goals. But take the game step by step and hopefully everything will be good.
The tournament will be held this Friday and Saturday at the ANZ Stadium in Suva. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
The Sakuna Bowl Challenge is all about the forces getting together and socializing. While winning is an added bonus, ASP Sakeo Raikadi says keeping up the name of the forces should be the ultimate goal. Meanwhile, Vodafone today handed over a check of $20,000 as silver sponsors for the tournament.
For the joint committee, the issue is not winning Sakuna Bowl. It's just to organize the Sakuna Bowl to make it a success. So we are here for the joint committee, and that is our primary role for this year, to make sure that the 1-week program becomes a success.
Fiji Mbati captain James Storer is currently in the country. The Australian-based player is helping the Fiji resident side prepare for the match against the visiting English community Lions this weekend. And in hope to make them more marketable players, Storer is also trying to get the local boys familiar with rugby league lingo in Australia. Meli Tavanga has more.
While helping prepare the residents for its 3 games against the Community English Rugby League team, Storer says one of his main objectives here is to get the boys understand the language that they speak in terms of rugby league in Australia. He says this is a factor in helping them find a spot with Australian clubs.
Without knowing that language, it's going to be really hard for the residents to make the actual national squad. Only coaching from that side of with Australia, it's a different language and you have to understand it. And all I'm doing is here to help with the language and help them understand how it has to happen, because these boys they're very talented. It's not their ability that they don't get picked. It's understanding the language, knowing where to be, and no more Fiji time.
Storer will be here for a week. He says Fiji has given him a lot of opportunity in showcasing his talent on and off the field.
Fiji is a very big part of my life. I didn't get to grow up here as I'm half Aboriginal, but my father was born here and grew up here, and I need to bring something and put back into the community and into the boys.
The 34-year-old says he'll make sure to spend most of the time with the boys in developing their skills.
Now I'm really blessed with this opportunity. After the Samoan test, I really want to get involved with the residents and help them build the game in Fiji.
The Vodafone Fiji residents team will play its first test match against the British Amateur Rugby League team this Saturday at Ratu Vakomo Park in Nosori. Meli Tavanga, FBC Sports.
Fijian wonder boy Roy Krishna scored twice for the Wellington Phoenix against the Newcastle Jets for a 2-0 victory in the A-League football competition. Krishna's goals gave the Phoenix its first win of the season. Meanwhile, Liverpool has moved to the top of the English Premier League table for the first time since May 2014. The Jurgen Klopp side thumped Watford 6-1 today. That's it from sports this evening. Jack is up next with business.
The South Pacific Stock Exchange saw a lot of movement last month. Fijian Holdings Limited saw its market-based dividend reinvestment trades dominate October. They accounted for a total of 278 transactions, 28,141 shares and more than 114,000. Overall, a total of 268 new investors have entered the market so far this year. 190 of them bought shares in Vision Investment Limited. As well, a number of other companies were of interest to new investors. The warm spell continued today with high humidity making it feel much warmer. Looking at the temperatures, Lambasa, Suva and Nadi all reached 29. The other centres were slightly cooler. Tomorrow, much the same weather is forecast for tomorrow with afternoon showers expected in all centres. And the further outlook, we're looking ahead to Wednesday. The same warm humid trend is expected to continue. At sea, southeast winds at 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. And recapping the main stories for tonight, Fiji in line to get $45 million from the European Union for sugar and agriculture, medicine stock to be restored by month's end, and government ministries to solve their own disputes internally. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Results from last week's poll question we had asked, is Gareth Baber the right choice for Sevens coach? 51% said no. This week we are asking, are Fijian parents neglecting children's proper diet? To answer, visit our FBC website. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News, and as always, good night and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's me, Simsta here, right from the Reykjavik town. और सुबह ब्रेकफास्ट शो में मैं सुनता हूँ. जब ब्रेकफास्ट शो में रहता है आशनील और संगीता के साथ, किसी के साथ सुनते सुनते 11 से 2 भाभी जी का शो जितेन शामिल. You know something? Reykjavik मिर्ची FM is hot.
मैं हूँ श्वेता, दुर्गुशा नर्सरी से. लोग देखते हैं ईद का चांद, लेकिन मेरा चांद तो मिर्ची FM है.
हमारा नाम जाबिर है, हम कोर्निविया नसोरी में रहता है. मिर्ची FM हम सब टाइम सुनता है. मिर्ची FM बहुत जुलूम है. मिर्ची FM इज हॉट.
मिर्ची FM, it's hot.